Well, now let's talk about some politics as we wait for that press conference. The political spotlight turns to the likely general election showdown between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And we're hearing a similar narrative about Donald Trump, one we kept hearing during the primaries, saying that he would eventually lose. Well, my next guest says this is exactly why the public should be skeptical. And he's here to tell us why the press faces a huge credibility gap when it comes to Mr. Trump. Joining me now, Kurtz, the host of Media Buzz. So we shouldn't believe the mainstream media when it comes to Donald Trump and what might happen.
Well, just have a little healthy skepticism. I mean, credibility gap is the phrase I'm using because most journalists, most pundits and commentators spent months and months and months telling us that Donald Trump either had no chance to win the Republican nomination or very little chance. Obviously, they adjusted that as we got closer to the end. And now we're hearing from many of those same people that he's going to get clobbered by Hillary Clinton in the fall campaign. Well, maybe he will. But given the track record here, I wonder if the press is falling into a trap, and that is judging the Trump candidacy by conventional political analytical standards when he kind of smashed those standards with the campaign that he ran in the primaries.
Certainly, it's an unconventional year, so we can't assume that the same things would happen as in the past. Howie, you quote a couple recent news articles here, and I want to show our viewers some of those. One is from Salon, and it says the widespread dismissal of Trump 2016 stands out as one of the more significant media failures of the past year. And then it goes on to hammer the media.
Well, not just the past year. I would say in past decades, there's been no bigger blunder by the press when it comes to a presidential campaign than what we have just seen with Donald Trump. I mean, it's not just picking the wrong horse or somebody else won and we thought the other guy was going to win. It's missing the anger and frustration that millions of Americans feel toward Washington, toward the Republican establishment, toward the media establishment. That's the connection that Donald Trump made, and that's why he's the last man of 17 standing.
You know, Howie, you talk to these media folks all the time down there in D.C. Why didn't they take Donald Trump more seriously?
You know, by all the ways that we measure these things, of course he wasn't going to win. I mean, he said all these divisive and controversial things. He'd never run for office before. You know, who did the media think was going to be the big front runner? The guy raised $100 million, Jeb Bush, who went nowhere in the campaign. So I think press often is fighting the last war and just failed to adjust. Or, you know, even those who said Trump was a force said, yeah, but next month and after the next primary and after this thing he said last week, he's going to implode and we'll be back to normal. Well, that never happened. And now Donald Trump is the de facto Maryland nominee, Republican presidential nominee.
And it's not just the mainstream media. I mean, you even have National Review, conservative media, saying that let's show our folks this. The party of Lincoln is in ruins, and then they go on to say Trump is the destroyer of conservatism, and he will taint all who take his side. Ouch.
The most notable thing about this campaign and Trump's candidacy, to me, is that he not only gets hammered by liberal commentators, which you would expect and see is a Republican, but many people on the right are now, even with Trump winning, National Review, some Weekly Standard writers and editors, others, some Fox News commentators saying they're still in the never, ever, ever Trump camp, which puts them in the uncomfortable position of not wanting Trump, not wanting Hillary, some flirting with a third-party conservative bid that I think would hand the White House to Hillary Clinton. We've never seen anything like this before. It has scrambled the usual alliances. Hey, if I could just briefly add on the situation with the 4 shootings in Maryland, it's close to where I live in Montgomery County. The public schools there, I know this because I have kids in the schools, have now put a shelter-in-place program just to be on the safe side because while police continue to look for the gunman, whoever he may be. I just thought I would add that.
Thank you for mentioning that. And that is so frightening for so many parents. And imagine those school teachers who are charged with protecting those children. Howie, thanks for that information. Kurtz, thanks a lot. We'll be watching your show this weekend.
Good to see you.
You too.